Welcome, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Sexual Assault Survivor Stories, the SAS podcast, coming to you from the Podvlog studio in St. George, Utah, and produced by Markel Consulting, LLC. I'm your host, Dave Markel. Hi, everyone. I'm glad you've tuned in. This is episode 59. And for this episode, I want to talk to you about a couple of things that some of you have been wondering about that I want to clarify for you and hopefully clear up any confusion. These two topics are start by believing and the difference between rape and sexual assault. And yes, there is a difference. Many people are confused by the two terms. Today, I'm going to do my best to end the perplexity. Let's start there then. While the exact definition and wording for rape and sexual assault varies from state to state, and even from federal law to various states' laws, the general definitions remain the same. I'll start off by saying this. If you've been raped, you've been sexually assaulted. However, if you've been sexually assaulted, you haven't necessarily been raped by definition of the law. The U.S. Department of Justice defines sexual assault as, quote, a wide range of victimizations distinct from rape or attempted rape. These crimes include completed or attempted attacks generally involving unwanted sexual contact between the victim and offender. Sexual assaults may or may not involve force and include such things as grabbing or fondling. Sexual assault also includes verbal threats, end of quote. A medical website that I ran across, Sutter Health, summarizes sexual assault as, quote, any unwanted sexual contact or attention made through force, threats, bribes, manipulation, pressure, tricks, or violence. It may be physical or non-physical and includes rape, attempted rape, child molestation, incest, and sexual harassment. All forms of sexual assault are crimes, end of quote. Rape, as defined by the Department of Justice, is the crime of forcibly engaging in sexual intercourse with a person who has not consented. Rape includes using psychological coercion and or physical force. Forced sexual intercourse means vaginal, anal, or oral penetration by the offender or offenders. This category includes incidents where the penetration is from a foreign object, such as a bottle. This definition includes attempted rapes, male and female victims, and heterosexual and homosexual rape, end of quote. And here I want to throw in a few statistics about rape and sexual assault for you to ponder from the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network website, better known as RAIN. Every 68 seconds, an American is sexually assaulted. Every 2 minutes, a woman is raped in the United States. 1 in 4 college women will experience rape or attempted rape by the time she graduates. Most people believe that women are usually assaulted by strangers, but at least 70% of rape victims know their attackers. And the danger of rape or sexual assault isn't limited to women. According to a recent study, 10% of rape victims are male. For teens, these statistics are especially concerning because the risk for women peaks from 16 to 19 years of age. Women of these ages are 4 times more likely to experience rape, attempted rape, or sexual assault than the general population. I mention all of these stats because it's important to be educated on these facts, and I think it helps shed light on the fact that we all know someone whose life has been affected by rape or sexual assault. Which leads me to the other topic I want to talk about, the Start by Believing campaign. You hear me say every week at the end of every episode that we all have a role to play in helping bring justice to victims and survivors of rape or sexual assault, and that one way to do this is to start by believing. But what you may not know is that I didn't come up with that catchphrase. It was initiated by Joanne Archambault, founder and former executive director of the Ending Violence Against Women International Organization. EVAWI initiated the Start by Believing campaign in April of 2011 with the goal of raising awareness about rape and sexual assault and improving how society handles victim disclosures. The campaign draws insights from psychological research on attitude development and behavior modification. Its core focus is urging both professionals and the public to adopt a specific response when faced with a disclosure of rape or sexual assault, specifically prioritizing belief over doubt, blame, or shame. EVAWI took particular aim at the fact that there is extensive research and professional observations which indicate that, unlike other crimes, instances of rape and sexual assault are often met with skepticism. In most circumstances today, victims of rape and sexual assault are perceived as untruthful until they can prove their credibility and validate their experiences as genuine instances of assault. I use Start by Believing because I believe in it, and I believe that everyone should adopt the concept, including law enforcement personnel, prosecutors, victim advocates, caseworkers, and, yes, family members, friends, and coworkers. It's critical to note that believing someone who discloses rape or sexual assault doesn't mean prejudging the accused as guilty. Being fair and impartial in an investigation involves respecting the presumption of innocence while also taking the allegations seriously and investigating them thoroughly. It's about providing support to the survivor, collecting evidence, and allowing the legal process to determine guilt or innocence based on facts and evidence. Balancing empathy and impartiality is crucial in these cases. The Start by Believing campaign is a movement aimed at changing the way society responds to survivors of rape or sexual assault by fostering a more supportive environment. Its primary goal is to encourage a more compassionate and understanding initial response to those who come forward with a report of rape or sexual assault. For the skeptics out there who wonder how the Start by Believing campaign impacts sexual assault investigations, let me state in no uncertain terms, this campaign's impact on investigations is powerful, empathic, and helpful in its fourfold approach. That fourfold approach is, number one, empowerment of survivors. It encourages survivors to speak out by creating an atmosphere where they feel supported and validated. This will lead to more survivors coming forward to report assaults, increasing the chances of getting justice. Number two, improving responses. Law enforcement, healthcare professionals, and communities are encouraged to respond to survivors with empathy and belief. This can positively influence how cases are handled, ensuring survivors feel heard and understood from the start. Number three, enhanced investigations. By starting with a supportive approach, investigators may build better rapport with survivors, potentially leading to a more comprehensive collection of evidence. This, in turn, can strengthen the investigation and potentially lead to higher rates of prosecution and conviction. And number four, changing culture. Over time, the campaign aims to change societal attitudes towards rape and sexual assault, fostering an environment where victim blaming and skepticism are reduced and survivors are more readily believed and supported. However, it's important to note, as stated before, that Start by Believing does not advocate for presuming guilt or innocence. Instead, it encourages taking allegations seriously, investigating thoroughly, and ensuring due process and fairness for all involved. Overall, the campaign seeks to create a more compassionate and supportive response to victims and survivors of rape and sexual assault, with the ultimate goal of improving overall handling of these cases within the justice system. So, when I say that you can do your part to help bring justice to victims and survivors of rape or sexual assault, and that the best way to do that is to start by believing, you now know exactly what I mean. And remember, the reason I say it is because I believe it, and because we all know someone whose life has been affected by rape or sexual assault. I hope these explanations have helped clear up any confusion or questions you had about these two critically important topics. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.